Hey, this probably isn't the game you were expecting. I think I'd mentioned I was going to make a video on like the Hex and another video, but I've been away from making videos for a little, and I wanted to come back and get into the swing of things with something a bit smaller. So we're doing Pony Island. I did a video on my other channel where I showed off all the tickets and the secret ending as well as some other secrets, but I left out two big secrets that I wanted to show off in this video because I think they're really cool and the story around them is also pretty fun. And I don't think anyone's really made a video breaking down the full secret hunt around them, so we're doing just that. I know it's been like 5 or 6 years since this hunt actually happened, but I figured better late than never, right? Also, it probably goes without saying, spoilers for Pony Island. I'd definitely go play it before this, because I will be ruining a lot. But anyway, let's get started. So this secret begins actually in a Steam discussion back from 2016. It's a thread called Secret Ending Spoilers. The thread was all about the secret ending you get for collecting all the tickets, which I showed off in another video on my second channel if you're interested in that. Or if you need a refresher on the story of Pony Island, just go watch Macca Johnson's video where he does just that. He explains the story of Pony Island. But this thread is about that secret ending where you get to fight Hopeless Soul at the end of the game with that cool 3-phase boss fight. But besides the secret ending, people were also showing off other cool secrets they had found in the game in this thread. And Daniel Mullins himself was popping in and congratulating these people on finding these secrets. But after most of the secrets in the game had been found, Daniel comes in with this message. I'm a little surprised. There's a secret with a good 4 to 5 clues hidden around that I haven't heard anyone talking about. And so you can't come in and say that and expect people to like not freak out. So Barteh here in this thread sees this and thinks they have a possible lead on what this secret could be. So they go and create their own thread called the Unfound Secret, where they're like, guys, Daniel Mullins said there's another secret that's been discussed, little to not at all. No one's found it. And Barteh here's been trying to figure it out on his own. And so they come in with 3 different pieces of evidence on what they think this secret could be. And so we'll get started by looking at the first piece of Barteh's evidence, which was this help.txt file, which you look at it, it's just got all this binary crap on it, but you can see some messages underneath. And some people also noticed that when you first opened help.txt, there's like a couple frames where it doesn't have the binary on it. So if we freeze frame on that, we can actually see what the messages were underneath this. So you can see stuff like, I have been trapped in this game for what feels like an eternity. Endless playing, endless testing. I am level 781092. Kill me. Both of those are backwards. But then there's blue text behind this white text that says like, on the top, never escape, never escape, never escape, never escape. And then at the bottom it says the development never ends and pony lasers are key. And so this hidden text looked like it could be a possible lead to something more. Like maybe this 781092 was something. Unfortunately though, this really didn't lead to anything. But it was only the first piece of evidence that Barteh brought to this thread. The rest of the evidence was way more important. Which leads me to the next one, which was this hidden message on the corrupted profile. You can't really see it well because it's faded and also upside down, but if I do a little flipperoo here and then reverse it because it's backwards, it says hisfatherpureevil, which is a phrase that also pops up in other places in the game. Like on the Act 3 desktop, you can also see it in the bottom right corner. And I gotta do some movie magic here to brighten this up a bit because it's super dark and you can barely even see it. But keep this phrase in mind as we go to look at Barteh's third piece of evidence, which was this here on the advanced options menu here. So if you go to advanced options, you can find security settings, which the stuff on the left, who cares about parental controls and allowing to die on Earth? That's not important. What's important is this over here. It's your boy Binary, everyone's favorite. And this on the top, people thought this was a secret message, but I think it's just gibberish. It's just random keys on the keyboard. But if we translate the binary, it says audio top right. And conveniently, if we go back, there was this advanced audio tab. So if we go here, we go to the top right of the menu here, there's a hidden binary square that appears if you like scroll your mouse over, and if you click it, you'll hear a familiar phrase. Hisfatherpureevil. So that's the third time we've seen this phrase so far, so it's gotta mean something, right? And people speculated this was some kind of like passcode you could use, and they also knew you can say passwords to Baphomet, right? So some people tried this and put in hisfatherpureevil and found that Baphomet will tell you he exists. but I am not he. Well, okay, so there's some father that exists, and Baphomet is not the father? That's all we got. And funnily enough, this is all there was to this secret too. It was just meant to be a couple hints about Satan's father, the father of all mythological evil characters. There was really nothing more to it than that. It was just a fun bit of world building that Daniel threw in. But even though this was the end of the secret, some people were still caught up on that audio that played on the options screen. It did sound a little strange, so people started searching for secrets within it. They first tried spectral analysis of the audio, which apparently revealed a black line or something. I don't know, I don't really see anything here. And people also reversed the audio, hoping to find some hidden backwards message in it. And reversing the audio sounded like this, which people interpreted as abeeper perhaps. And now, a couple hours go by, and suddenly Imaria pops into this thread and mentions an interesting entry in the prog list. Abeeper 1132%. Now Barteh sees this and confirms that it exists, but they also wonder how they missed this. It's super obvious in the prog list, and surely someone had checked this screen before, right? So how did people miss this? Well, let's cut back to Daniel Mullins real quick. So the whole time this hunt's been going on, Daniel's been keeping a close eye on this thread because he wants to see people find this secret that he started this hunt for. But once he saw how deep people were going into this secret, he knew it wouldn't be nearly enough to satisfy these secret hunters. So he did something a little sneaky. He actually patched in more to this secret and snuck it in alongside some other minor bug fixes during a normally scheduled patch. So that's why this abeeper 1132% was such a confusing find. It didn't actually exist until this patch on January 9th, 2016. And if you check the dates in the thread, you'll see that Imaria and Barteh found it just a few hours after this patch. But back to this abeeper 1132% thing. What does it actually mean? Well, we've got this chat window up here, so maybe we can ask Hope with Soul about it? Hey dude, what's up with this abeeper 1132% here? Oh, First Kings, speak the name of my servant to Lord Baphomet? Huh, interesting. So I get the second part of this, just speak the name of my servant to Lord Baphomet, but whose servant are we even talking about here? I don't know. But back to this First Kings thing. That's a book of the Bible, isn't it? So maybe this is a Bible verse? First Kings 11:32? So let's go over here to good old Bible Gateway and slap in 1 Kings 11:32, which says, "But for the sake of my servant David and the city of Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, he will have one tribe." And so that right there, servant David, speak the name of my servant to Baphomet, so my servant David. And so now if we go back over to Pony Island and go back to Baphomet, and we say the name of my servant, which was David. Oh, let me capitalize that name. Might be important, probably not. We say David. In death, you still seek Jerusalem. You have chosen the wrong gate. You have chosen the wrong gate. What gate are we talking about here? Well, some folks did some digging around in the game files and they found this image. It appears during one of the flashbacks you get from Baphomet, and people actually identified it as the Golden Gate of Jerusalem, the only one of Jerusalem's 8 gates that remains closed to this day. And since Baphomet referred to Jerusalem here, people assumed this Golden Gate of Jerusalem was the wrong gate that the quote was referring to, which would mean that one of the other 7 gates of Jerusalem would be the correct gate. So people started looking for clues in the other 7 gates of Jerusalem, like there was David's gate, which people assumed was also important because of the whole name of my servant David thing. They also found Herod's gate, which is also referred to as the flower gate. So maybe that has to do with the flowers and the butterflies section of the game. I don't know, there's a lot of options here, but this seems like it could take a moment to solve. So I'm gonna check back in on this later. But around the same time this gate hunt was happening, another person enters this thread, the Great Swami. They come in with some additional information, hoping to find some new leads in this hunt. And one of these was really interesting. Apparently saying I am error to Hope with Soul returns this weird string. So if I go over here and type I am error to Hope with Soul, he'll return... Wait, whoops, that's not right. That's an ad for my second channel, Flimbons, where I've been streaming a bunch lately. We've been having a ton of fun with Casey's Mod and a bunch of other games, so come hang out if that sounds interesting to you. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and Sundays, and having a bunch of fun over there, so come hang out if that sounds cool to you. And I'll get back on with this. And so Great Swami found that entering I am error in the chat when you're talking to Hopeless Soul results in this. It's gibberish ASDIJOAFS001AKJS0:L. It's gibberish, but you may have noticed the noise that came from when I entered I am error. Maybe it'll do it again. That's not Hopeless Soul's normal voice, right? Normally, Hopeless Soul has that but that was like a weird and this kind of brings me into another side secret within this secret. It was something totally separate from this secret that just happened to be found in the same thread, but it involves editing registries outside of the game. So I'll pull up regedit here so I can show you what I'm talking about. So this is regedit. It's where you go to edit your registries, and registries are just low-level storage that Windows uses to like store configurations and settings for your OS. But Pony Island also happens to use them to keep track of your game's save. And so Pony Island's keeping track of different things like how many times you failed at Asmodeus, how far you progressed on them, broken locks, questions asked to Baphomet, etc. You can go on forever. But one of these stands out. It's this one right here. Do not set to 1. It sounds like a big warning, and it also sounds like it's asking to be set to 1. So if I modify it, we can just set it to 1 in hex, which is just 1. And then we boot the game back up, and we see what happens. Oh, hi Satan. Tampering with the save data? I see. Oh, you expected me to be impressed? Well, congratulations, I guess, I suppose. Now, if you aren't here to bequeath your soul, then get lost. Oh. Did that just like reset it? Guess we're back to the main menu. But that's actually not where this secret ends. You can keep going and continue to change the registry, and you'll get different cutscenes if you change it to different values. So people found you could change it to 666, which is 29A in hex. Yep, 666. And so if we boot that up, since that's you know Satan's number, we hit continue and we get a new cutscene. Oh, it's back. His father pure evil, his father pure evil, his father pure evil, his father pure evil. It's like Satan had to go to detention and write this phrase 100 times on the board. But that's one of these. And there's one more though, and this is the one I wanted to show off that is important to that message we got from Hopeless Soul earlier. So for this last one, you need to change it to 2 to get one final cutscene. So I'll do that, and we move back over to Pony Island, and we hit continue to get our last cutscene here. Hi Satan, very clever. So I'll tell you a secret. Sometimes I like to speak or I like to talk in other voices. Don't tell Dad. So if you couldn't tell, he was speaking in the voice of the Hopeless Soul. So this just throws a whole wrench in the story here. That Hopeless Soul was Satan all along and just messing with us. And also, by deleting the game, which me being stupid, I just wanted to see what would happen, and I deleted the game, so my bad on releasing Satan out into the wild. That's a big oopsie on my part, and I'm sure a bunch of other people did it. But deleting the game releases Hopeless Soul, who is also Satan. And so that's why I thought it was interesting when you entered I am error into the chat window, it plays Satan's voice instead of Hopeless Soul, which was hinting at Hopeless Soul's true identity. But that was just a quick side note that I thought was pretty cool. But back to that weird string you get for entering I am error in the chat. It's not super relevant right now, but people noticed it and were wondering if it was some kind of cryptogram or clue. But sadly, it didn't really lead to anything at the moment. But I'll explain what it actually meant at the end of this. And so now that that side note is over, let's see if anyone's found any leads on this correct gate of Jerusalem thing. And it looks like we've gotten nowhere. Alright, cool. This whole thing with finding the correct gate was super cryptic, and people were digging really deep to hopefully find some answers somewhere. But then A gift from the heavens arrives in the form of user Cats Pretend They're Smart. They come in and say, hey, y'all are overthinking this. The quickest way to make no progress on a puzzle is to assume that everything is riddles within riddles. And sometimes a gate is just a gate. You're overthinking it. So this person must have figured out how to solve this gate part and was saying very literally, it is just a gate. And so if we look around in Pony Island, where was there some kind of gate? There were gates in part 3 in the butterflies section. There were gates that you opened. But one that a lot of people overlook is over here in Act 1, where there's actually another gate that's very, very subtly hidden. And it's hidden in the options menu here in the advanced options section. So if I get to that, go to advanced options, and we click it, and you can kind of look at the background, right? You see it. There's this door structure in the background, and this is our gate. But we don't know how to open it currently. So how do we open it? Well, this was something that people actually stumbled onto a few days after the secret hunt had ended, but it has to do with Baphomet again. People found out that if you typed hisfatherpureevil into Baphomet again, it'll change the chat history function, but I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm just going to say hello. I'll go wrong, back, and so we leave. And so if we go over here to advanced options, we can see our chat history here. If you like close this window, you go to chat history, you can see like my chat there. But people found out that if you go over here and you type hisfatherpureevil, he exists, but I am not he. Yes, I know. We've seen that many times. But advanced options, security settings, chat history. Look at that. That's not what I typed. What the heck? What could that mean? That's binary. You know what we're doing. We're translating that. And it comes out to be useless bottom right. Which, what does that mean, right? Useless bottom right. Well, in the advanced gameplay here, there's these old prototype options, and then there's the really useless options. So it was what? Useless bottom right? So if we scroll on over here to the bottom right, oh, you see that? There's a little arrow, and guess what that arrow does? It opens the gate. And so now that the gate is open, we can go back to Baphomet, and we can type in our key, which is David, and this is the end of this secret, and so we'll see what happens. I have shown you your past, but you, your future. Ooh. Familiar ukulele as usual. Waking up in the little arcade. But wait, that's not Pony Island. It's Pony Island 2, Panda Circus, the sequel that never came out. I think it was just meant to be a teaser for a potential Pony Island 2, but that was what lied at the end of the secret hunt. And it was a neat little hunt. It was the first major Daniel Mullins secret hunt on Steam, at least, so I thought it was cool to go back through this and see the roots of him putting together these super in-depth puzzles. But I did mention earlier that there was one part of this hunt that wasn't really relevant at the time, and I'd revisit it later. It was that weird string like ASDIJIO, you know, the big string when we put I am error into the chat log. But I did a little digging around and just looked at that string in Asset Studio again, and it's just the name of the assets. It's just called Pony Island 2 Panda Circus. But people thought this was like some kind of cryptogram, and I actually reached out to Daniel Mullins and asked, like, was this anything, or was this just like a total red herring? And I think his answer was, I think I just like smashed my keyboard. And that was it, and just copied that name and made it the secret name. So nothing, no deep lore, deep puzzle that nobody missed there. And that's really the end of the Pony Island secret hunt. I thought it was cool and worth showing off, and I think it's neat seeing the roots of like the puzzles that Daniel Mullins like originally introduced people to, and where we're at today, where it's so much more complex. But after this, I want to work on the Hex one, and that one, I think I spent like 2 hours reading the thread on it, and it's insanely interesting. So I'm really excited to put that together. I'm gonna probably get to work on that right after this. But again, I'm also streaming on Flimbonds, my other channel. I've been doing that pretty regularly, and it's been a blast. We've seen a ton of growth, and people kind of trickle in from the ARG video, and I've built a little small community, and I'm hoping to see more growth, and I'm really enjoying it. So stop on by if you want to check it out. And I'll be back again later with the Hex one, so thank you all for watching. I always appreciate it, and again, thank you for the huge love on the ARG videos and all that, and I'm excited to make more, so I'll catch you later. Bye.